Good morning, class. Missed you guys last Sunday. We was looking to get back that Sunday, but it would have been too much of a push. Too much of a push, and not to mention we didn't have enough of time down there. I wanted a little bit longer, but I had to get back. I did want to touch bases on the last Sunday lesson because I left with the question, and I wanted to know what everybody's thoughts was, but I'll get to that at the end of this lesson. So if I forget, somebody remind me. Because I did want it to... Matter of fact, I think the end of this lesson is going to touch bases on it anyway. So it's going to come across it. All right. This is lesson 13. Today is November the 24th, the year of 2024, which is the last lesson in this quarter. And I do have the new books. I'll give them to y'all after service. Topic of this lesson is Jesus points to Jonah. And that comes from Matthew the 12th chapter, 22nd through the 32nd verse. Then we jump down to the 38th through the 40th verse. The time is 28 AD and the place is Galilee. Today's aim, the facts, is to explore the controversy between Jesus and some Pharisees. The principle is to remind students that good works are not always well received by everyone. And the application is to prepare students for opposition they could encounter as Jesus followers. So that's just letting us all know that just because people act friendly towards you, that doesn't necessarily make them your friend. Just because you're doing good things and good deeds, that doesn't mean that everybody's going to like you or like that. So that's what this lesson here is actually telling us, that everybody's not going to be for you. There's actually going to be some people looking for you to make mistakes. They're going to be pushing you out there to do certain things that they know that you're not going to turn away from, just to watch you make a mistake so that they can be the first one to say, I told you so. That's how some people are, and it's sad to say it that way, but that is the way of life. That is the way people are. That's not the way God created people to be. But that is the way people are. And a lot of people are highly influenced on, I ain't going to say the devil, but the devilish things. A lot of people are influenced on these things, and a lot of people don't know how to let God take control of that. Some people just let the devil or devilish things just take control of whatever they got going on in life. So we just got to be mindful that we have to remain who God wanted us to be. So in this lesson here, we are going to see a lot of these people actually trying to destroy Jesus. And if you'd have went back to the beginning of this chapter, you'd have saw that everything that Jesus did, there were certain people watching the whole time. Amen. So whenever you're out there in the street, that's why I always say, don't ever think that it's just you. Because when you're out there, people don't just see you. They see everybody that's connected to you. So whenever Jesus is out there doing certain things, there are certain people out there that is watching him to destroy everything that is about him. And they know that he's not a bad person. They know that everything that he was doing is good, but they want all the credit. And they're trying to destroy him by any means necessary. Mm-hmm. And you saw at the beginning when they were going to eat the corn, and they was like, look, you can't do this. And Jesus talking to them was like, why not? Yeah. Is that not what the other ones did? They did the same thing. Why makes it any different than us? And then he healed a man with the withered hand and on the Sabbath. Why? You can't do stuff like that. So is it lawful to heal or kill? Which is better? So you find it, and every time Jesus moved to a different location, these same certain Pharisees was right there watching everything he did. And he knew that. So he leave, go to a different place, and do another miraculous thing, and they are right there watching what he is doing. And it gets to the end of it where he heals everybody that needed healing in that particular area. They didn't like that as well. So now we get to this part here where they bring in a blind and dumb man. And it says, then was brought unto him one possessed with the devil, blind and dumb, and he healed him in so much that the blind and dumb both spake and saw. I'm not going to say that they're talking about two demons that was in him, or was this a demon that's job was specifically meant to stop him from speaking and seeing. So however y'all want to interpret that part, that's how y'all has to interpret that, because we all read and we all study to gain our own understanding. Now when you do gain that understanding, I do however ask that you talk to God and make sure that God verifies everything that you are thinking and considering in your lesson, because you don't lean to your own understanding, but by the understanding of God. So once you gain your understanding and knowledge based on what you've read, talk to God and find out if that is the route he wants you to take. And the reason I say that is because every one of us sitting in here right now can read one scripture and get 13 different definitions. So we have to read and understand and then ask God to show us what he actually wants us to see out of that. So when they're talking about this demon here, it never really specifies if it's talking about one demon or is it two demons that's, one doing this and one doing that, or is it just one demon that's responsible for the both? So I need y'all to talk to God and ask God to guide y'all into that direction to find out if that's where he wants y'all to be thinking of in this point. Because all of us is not going to think the same. So it says that this blind and dumb, he spoke and saw after the encounter with Jesus. And all the people were amazed and said, is not this the son of David? That was a prophecy. That was foretold. That the Son of Man was going to come and start doing some miraculous things and some healings, miracles. That was foretold. So when it says that the people were amazed, yes, they was. These people was in awe. They was in amazement. They actually accepted the fact that he came in there and did this because it was a prophecy. Now they are actually thinking about this. They are looking at Jesus being the Son of Man, because it was a prophecy. That was a good thing to them. But, like I say, there's always a but. Always a but. We all have a hater somewhere. We all have somebody that is looking for us to fall. No matter how good you are doing, no matter how good you treat people, there's always going to be somebody that's going to be looking for you to fail. And like I was telling y'all at the beginning, that these certain Pharisees was always following Jesus around, trying to find a reason to destroy him. So now they're back. They're back in his presence again. And they're seeing where he just healed this blind and dumb man. And now, but when the Pharisees heard it, they said, this fellow does not cast out devils, but by Beelzebub, the prince of the devils. They saw the same thing everybody else saw. They saw a blind and a dumb man come up in the presence. Couldn't speak, couldn't see. They saw this man come into the presence, and they saw Jesus heal this man. They saw this. But they don't care how good of work Jesus did. Many people don't care how good of a person you really are. Many people don't care how good of a job you can really do. They are still there for themselves. They want all the credit for everything. They don't want you to take the credit. They did not want Jesus to have the credit for this. See, 'cause a lot of these people, some of them are jealous of the fact that they're not the Son of Man. Why can't they be the Son of Man? And when you're out there doing certain jobs that is good, a good job, a lot of people is looking at it like they think they all that. I could have did that too. But it's not about what you could have or could not have done. The thing is, did God ordain you to do that? If God never ordained you to do that, then that is a job that is supposed to be left unattended by you, because that's not your position. And they're looking at him right here. They're saying, did he really cast out the demons, or is he one of them? I don't know. This is what they're saying now. That's what they're saying. Did he cast out the demons, or did he just put on a show and gave y'all a little bit of who he really was? He's a devil anyway, so, why not just show y'all a little bit of who he really is? Did he really push it out, or did he just give y'all a portion of who he was? See, these haters, that's how they do. You didn't really do a good job at that job. It was already almost done. You just went and finished it. That's how people do. They don't want you to take all the credit. They don't want people to see the good in you, so they try to deter all of the good away from the action and make it look like you didn't do anything but just show up. So in other words, that's what they're saying. He didn't do anything. All he did was just show up. He showed up and showed y'all exactly who he really was. He's nothing but the devil. So I can show you the devil if the devil is in me. And Jesus knew their thoughts. See, they was talking amongst each other. They wasn't talking to everybody else. They was talking in their little circle amongst each other. Jesus didn't even hear that. But he knew that. He knew what they was thinking. Jesus knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. If the scribes, I know I like using the scribes because I love the scribes. I love the scribes. So if the scribes is in their house and minister scribe and prophet scribe can't agree on nothing, the house is divided. He say yes, she say no. He say come, she say go. So if they can't agree on one thing, if one is always against the other one, they will never prosper. They will never make it. If true fellowship can't stand on the same page, if you got half over here talking God is good, and the other half talking about God is sometimes all right, how can we be teaching and learning the same thing if half of us is not believing what we're speaking? That's what Jesus is telling. How can I come and exercise something against myself and still prosper? If you're calling me a devil and I'm exercising a devil, don't that mean that I'm trying to work against myself? So if I want to grow, why would I work against myself? Why would I try to destroy myself if I'm trying to grow? I'm trying to help something, but yet I'm going to destroy a part of me. I'm trying to be the greatest man in the world, the smartest man. I'm trying to be better than Einstein, but then I'm going to destroy half of my brain. How's that possible? I'm going to go out there and do all of the negative things in life. I'm not going to go back to school. I'm not going to learn anything that's going to be beneficial to life, but yet I'm trying to be the smartest man in the world. How? When you don't want to know what's already out there. That's what he's trying to tell them. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? How? If you take the Golden Gate Bridge and you cut it in half, it's going to fall. That's right. Even though if you directly in the middle of the Golden Gate Bridge, if you take one half away, the other half going to fall too. Because one half is supporting the other half. Whether you want to believe that or not, both sides is working to hold each other up. That's right. Support. That's how a household is. When a household stands together, nothing can come in and destroy you. Right. When a church stands together, nothing can come in and destroy you. Anybody can step up in your church. And when I say your church, I'm not talking about this building. Anybody can step up in your church or to your church and tell your church whatever they want to tell it. But if your church is not fighting a battle on the inside and everything is on the same page, nothing they say will prosper. They can tell you that God ain't real all they want. But if in your heart you fighting that battle that says, I believe in God on all four corners, nothing will prosper. Nothing will get in. There will be no disbelief about who God is. Because you're standing together. You're standing on one accord. That's what he said. That you know, that was something that I saw. I don't always be on these social media post things, but I just ran across one and it was kind of crazy to me. You know, it was talking about a girl and a boy, and they was, you know, he was trying to separate from her, but she gave him a choice. And she said, I'm not like everybody else. I'm actually going to give you a choice. She says, you're either going to be with me, or I'm going to be with you, or we're going to be together. And I thought about that for a minute. I said, what? She says, you're either going to be with me, or I'm going to be with you, or we're going to be together. And that's how God works. God says, you're either going to work with me, or I'm going to work with you, or we're going to work together. There is no other way around it. We're going to be together no matter what. And if you don't want a part of that, then you are not for me. That's how God operates. God says you're either going to be with me or you're not. And if I, by Beelzebub, cast out devils, by whom do your children cast them out? Therefore they shall be your judges. So he basically told them, he says, look here, I'm doing the same thing that y'all was doing. How is it worse for me to do what y'all was doing versus y'all doing the same thing? If I'm going to tell you not to go out there and do something, but yet I'm going to go and do it, how does that make sense? I'm trying to stop you from living the life that I am living. I'm going to go up to you and I'm going to say, hey, you should stop doing this and stop doing that. But then when you see me, I'm doing everything that I told you not to do. Are you still going to believe the words that come out of my mouth? So he's telling them, look here, I have done no different than y'all did. So because I'm doing this and y'all are calling me a devil, what does that make you? Or are you not a devil? And if you're not a devil, then how does that make me a devil? If I'm doing the same thing that you're doing, how does that make me any different than you? You know, that goes back to people trying to put a title on certain things. You know, they're telling you, you know what, I am this and I am that. Well, if you are who you say you are, there is no introduction. There needs to be no introduction. Because the only thing that we are really are children of God. So when we're speaking the same terms and we're saying that we are children of God, you don't need to hear from me that I'm a Sunday school teacher. You don't need to hear from me that I'm a pastor. You don't need to hear from me that I'm a preacher or a deacon. You don't need to hear any of these things from me. Because we are on the same page. And if we're on the same page, then doesn't that mean that we're all working the same job? We're all living to do the same thing. We're all working to help and make sure that everybody gets in the glory together. We're all doing the same things together. So stop putting that title on me, because when you put a title there, then that makes me nothing more than just that title. And we're more to it than just that title. That title just separates us from man. Let man know what we say that we are. That they can verify something. They want to give us something so that they can look back and they can do exactly what these Pharisees was doing with Jesus and try to put a label on them and says, well, if they said that they was this, why is they out there doing that? That's all that title does. But when you are living the life that God asked you to live and God intended for you to live, titles don't matter, because if you're living it, then the only thing that they see is you are a child of God. and we're all living in truth. Says, but if I cast out devils by the Spirit of God, then the kingdom of God is coming to you. So if I'm casting out devils and you're calling me a devil, that's not beneficial. Because if y'all are looking for somebody to do good for you, but yet you're saying that the devil just came over there and relieved the devil, then the only thing that we did was switch places. And y'all are glorifying that. And the only thing that we did was, I just said, you know what? I know you're tired right now. Go in and take a rest and I'll take over from here. But the devil still exists. That's if you're calling me a devil. But if you're really wanting to look at something and you're saying that I am not a devil, but I am a child of God, I'm doing this in God's name. So now you have something more powerful than what you're dealing with. And see, that's the only way you can get the devil out of your way, is you got to have something that is more powerful than the devil. You cannot nail a big giant nail with a little hammer. You can tap it all day long, but it ain't going to do nothing. In order to get that big nail in there, you got to use a hammer that is big enough to knock it down. So if I am the devil and I'm trying to exercise a devil, how's that going to work when we are buddies? We are partners. I love him just as much as he loved me. So why would I want to hurt him? I know what you're saying. There's Christian folks that hurt each other all day long, every day, right? Well, see, that's the thing. If Christian folks hurt another Christian folk, they not Christians.
No,
they are not Christians. Those are those naysayers. Yeah. Those are the ones that walk around here and they say, well, I'm a child of God. I'm a Christian. I believe in this. I believe in that. And we're all about love. Well, see, if you're all about love, then we're supposed to love each other. Now, I ain't saying that you're not going to hurt anybody's feelings every now and then, because everybody don't like to hear everything.
No.
And the truth hurts. But see, it's a lie that a lot of them tells. Mm-hmm. And see, the only one that is associated with the lie in my book is the devil. It says, or else how can one enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house. You're not coming up in my house and destroying everything that I done built. That's the house of a strong man. That's what I'm trying to explain here. That's the house of a strong man. When you got a house of a strong man, you're not going to go up in that house and you're not going to do whatever you want to do up in that strong man's house without first taking care of him. If I'm sitting there watching whatever I want to watch and you walk up in there and break every rule that I had done put in there, you has got to go. That's the house of a strong man. There's no strong man that's going to sit there and watch you destroy everything that's going on inside their house. So it says, or else how can one enter into a strong man's? He has to be invited. That's the only way. He has to be invited in first. If he's not invited in, at the door is where he's going to stay. And he would never be able to destroy anything on the inside anyway. And spoil his goods. You're not touching anything that belonged to me. You're not touching my family. And I'm talking church family as well. You're not destroying anything that goes on inside my house because I am still present. So while we still have God going on around us, while we still have God in our presence, there is no way God is going to allow anybody or anything to come up in his presence and destroy his goods. That's why we have to keep speaking and manifesting God in us. Because as long as we keep speaking and manifesting God in us, nothing negative can come on the inside and prosper. We have to keep what is strong on the inside of us. That way nothing that is weaker than us can prosper. Nothing will ever knock us down if we're holding on to who we really are. If we are truly children of God, nothing can destroy us. I don't care how many demons you're fighting. I don't care how many battles you're out there that you think that you're probably about to lose. I don't care what is going on in your life. If you really are children of God, like we say we are, nothing will prosper when it comes to us. We will win everything. It says, he that is not with me is against me. And he that gathereth not with me scattereth abroad. abroad. That's what Deke was just talking about. He says, if you're not with me, you're against me. There's no in between. We got to get that out of everybody's mind right here. There's no in between. You either going to be with God or you're not. You either going to live by his command or you're not. You're either going to do what he say do or you're not. There is no in between. You can't be Christian right here and then once you see your buddy over there, run over there and do everything outside of God. They either got to accept you for who you say you are over here, or you got to come over here and be who you was over there. God don't want no halftime people. God wants people that's going to come in here and be exactly who you say you are in here as well as out there. Amen. If you're straddling the fence, God don't mind tilting you over to the other side. Oh, he's not going to pull you over here. He's not going to pull you over here because he already told you which side you belong on. Yeah. So he's already trained us up in the way that we should go. And because he's already trained us up in the way that we should go, when we step out of line, it is up to us to get ourselves back to where we belong. And remind you that I always talk about that other chance. When we're talking about that other chance, you go out there and you do something that you know you ain't got no business doing. Let's say you make it through this day. But remember, that's your other chance. No man knows the day or the hour. Just keep that in mind. So while you're out there playing around with who God is and what he done allowed you to do on that day, that could be the last day. So if you're still over there trying to figure yourself out, you're going to wake up on the other side of no man's land. Now, I don't know if any of us wants to be over there, but you got to figure that out. Wherefore I say unto you, all manner of sin and blasphemy shall be forgiven unto man. But the blasphemy against the Holy Ghost shall not be forgiven unto men. Step on my toes all you want. That's all I'm saying. Step on my toes all you want. Yeah. And you can be forgiven. You can, bump me and you can, say you don't like me today. That you can be forgiven. Oh, yeah. Curse me, yeah, you can be forgiven. I might not like it at the moment, but you can be forgiven. But curse God.
That's it. That's it.
Curse God and see what happens.
That's all over there.
Cursing God is like suicide. Mm-hmm. You already know that that's one place that you shouldn't be. You already know that. You already know that you should never cross that path. You should never cross that line when it's standing in before God. You should never go up to God and say, I can't stand you. I know we have certain times and certain moments where we kind of sort of disagree with what God does in certain times. I know that we hate certain things that he do, but you should never hate God. You might disagree with a lot of things that he do, but remember that everything that God does, he does it for a purpose. We don't see it at the moment. Everything that he does is for a purpose. Right. You might lose your job, but it was for a purpose. You might lose your car, but it was for a purpose. Yeah, there could be something better coming for you in life, but we don't see it then. But see, you should never curse God. Yeah. Never curse God. He already laid that down in the 10 Commandments. Always put him first. Right. And everything about the 10 Commandments is love. And if he's there first, then that means you should love God first. Love God no matter what. And when you're loving God no matter what, you will never say, I hate God. That's the thing about how the devil works with us. The devil tells us that, God was for you yesterday, but where is he today? So that's why we have certain people now, they believed God their whole entire life. And then now, I don't know about that. I might have to... check certain things out now because something happened the other day and I wasn't quite, I didn't like that. So I don't know. I'm going to have to, check that again because we're going to have to reevaluate that. But see, that's how the devil works. That's how the devil operates. The devil is the master of confusion. The devil tends to throw things in your path to make you think about if I made the right choice. If following God was the right decision, because I see a lot of people out there that's living the life that I want to live, and I'm following God all the time, and I don't have none of that. That's how the devil works with us. the devil confuses our minds to make us think that by following him, we're losing out on everything. But you're not losing. You're gaining. Because if you're actually paying any attention to anything, look, if you take me, for instance, I'm not saying that I done went through a whole lot of stuff that people can't imagine. I'm just saying I know what I have experienced. But see, I've done lived through not having to the point to when everybody got things that I don't have, it don't even bother me. I can have the worst vehicle or the worst house in the world, and it will not bother me to be living beside somebody with greater things. It will not bother me at all. I might not have 2 cents in my pocket, but it will not bother me. My wife can say, Kenny, I need you to go to the store and get us something to eat. And I don't have a dime in my pocket, but I'll walk out of the house like I got $1 million in my wallet and go straight to the store. And I will walk straight to some food that I want to pick up and put it in the buggy and walk up to the counter and pay for it. Because that's how God operates. When you believe that God will make everything all right, you don't have any worries. You don't stress about anything. You can have every bill coming due on the 1st. And you don't get paid until the 10th. You ain't worried about it. Because you're still walking in faith. Well, when the 1st gets here, I know God's going to make a way. That's how you deal with it. And as long as you're living with the mindset that God is going to make everything all right, you're not worried about anything, because worryation is a lack of faith.
Especially when you done brought through
So much.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can say, I don't know, I'm wishy-washy. But when you done brought through the valley and through the storm, and you can say, you know what, that first is coming, but I got faith.
Yeah, you have many that has never been there. And those are some of them that don't understand. And see, that's why it takes the true Christians and the true believers that has been there and walked that mile and then been through those battles, that has to sit there and keep talking to them, letting them know that, everything will be all right. You can't tell them your stories all the time. You can't try to compare them with you, because, like I said, everybody's different. What God allowed for you to handle, they probably can't handle. I don't think that too many people could have went through some of the things that I've gone through. Now, I don't think too many kids could have went through some of the things that my children has gone through. But God has given us the strength to be able to do it. But see, the one thing that God has always taught me is don't ever forget where you came from. Because once you forget where you came from, everything moving forward will be difficult. It says, then certain of the scribes and of the Pharisees answered, saying, Master, we would see a sign from thee. Remember what all happened now. Everything that happened in the past, the whole time these Pharisees kept following Jesus, trying to break him down, trying to destroy him, because they're watching him do miracle after miracle after miracle. And here they're asking for him to show them a sign. First off, they called him master. They are respectfully disrespecting him. They are calling him master when they don't care nothing about. This whole time, they are trying to destroy him. Because first off, they called him Beelzebub. So they're looking at it, they like, look, he's a sorcerer. And, as a sorcerer in these times here, that the punishment was death. They were trying to get people on board with them to go head on and take him out. But see, they are still tagging along on this journey with him, and now they want to see a sign. Not to mention that he's already healed a man with the withered hand. That was a sign there. He's already healed this man in this lesson here that couldn't speak or couldn't see. That was another sign there. Not to mention Jesus is there, born by a virgin. It's a sign there. That was the prophecy. Him doing healings, that's a prophecy. That's another sign. But yet, they can care less about the sign. They really don't care about the sign. They prove yourself. They don't care about that. They just want him to keep doing certain things so that they can keep talking to everybody else, making everybody else fall negative towards him. That's the only thing that they're really trying to do. they're really looking at people to look at him in a negative perspective. They don't care about Jesus. The only thing they care about is getting rid of him. But he answered and said unto them, an evil and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall no sign be given to it, but the sign of the prophet Jonah. No other signs. You don't need to find another sign. You don't need to look for another sign. And if you really want to see a sign, there's the prophet Jonah to look back at. You know, I was talking about that before I said I was going to get back to it. But it came up in this lesson here. Now, Jonah was a prophet. Jonah was a prophet. And the type of prophet that Jonah was is letting us understand that everybody that speak the word of God ain't for God. Did Jonah's heart change? No, it didn't. Jonah just went and did what God asked him to do the first time. See, when Jonah ran away, God asked Jonah to do something. Jonah didn't want to do it. See, Jonah was good enough to talk to his own people about God, but he couldn't talk to somebody else about God. That's how Jonah was. Jonah was for his people, but he wasn't for them. Did his heart change? No, it didn't. Jonah still didn't care about them people in Nineveh. Nope. Matter of fact, Jonah sat there on the hilltop and he sat and watched, waiting to see if Jesus was going to destroy him. But see, deep down inside, Jonah already knew that God was a forgiving God. He already knew that God was a merciful God. He knew that God was a God of chances. He knew that the reason why he went there is so that they can catch this information, so that they can change and God can give them a chance. But see, he didn't want that to happen. He really wanted them to be destroyed. Now, we're talking about a prophet now. Man of God. Jesus and the devil. One's good, one's bad, right? They did about the same things, right? Jesus talked about God, the devil talked about God. Jesus quotes scriptures, the devil quotes scriptures. Jesus says, as it is written. The devil says, as it is written. Just because you can quote these scriptures and tell me where they are, that does not make you a man of God. Jonah was only doing what God told him to do because he got caught. Jonah got mixed up. He was stuck into this belly of this fish. He was stuck in there for 3 days. It says right here, it says, for as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. Now, you remember I was telling y'all before, though, that in the book of Matthew, it says whale, but in the book of Jonah, it says fish. Yeah. And, you know, we got a lot of people with this altercation going on where it was a whale, it was a fish, it was a whale, it was a fish. This is where the misunderstanding comes in it. Right. But see, you got to first understand that the Bible was written in Greek. Mm-hmm. And in Greek, whale means a large living creature that lives in the water. Mm-hmm. So that's what whale means. So you can fight that battle about if it was a whale, if it was a fish, all you want. But the truth is, in the book of Jonah, where it was originally written, it says God prepared a fish. He prepared, meaning this is something not in the ordinary. This was something that was created just for this moment. So fuss and fight all you want about what it was. But I'm leaning to something that God created. That's it. God prepared this just for this moment. Just like y'all's lives, God has prepared y'all for everything that y'all are going to face in your lives right now. I can't even go through whatever God is about to prepare for y'all. Whatever God got going on in your lives, I probably couldn't even go through it because God prepared y'all for that. He didn't prepare me for that. Any other fish that probably would have taken Jonah up probably would have died. Because a whale, being one of the largest fish in the sea, it's got the smallest throats, and there's no way it could have swallowed a human. Whales eat little things, not big things. Jonah could not even last it for 3 days. But see, it says, for as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights. Now, this is another prophecy that we're talking about here. Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly. So shall the Son of Man 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. What are we talking about here? We're talking about Jesus.
Yeah.
We're talking about Jesus, his death and his resurrection. We're talking about Jesus. He has prophesied to you. You're still looking for a sign, though. How much more signs do you really need to see? Do we really need to get that close to death before we understand that God is real? Do we really need that much of our life to be destroyed before we start to turn towards God? Are we really focusing on pulling that trigger and then stopping soon as our finger go into squeeze mode? That's what we're doing. We're committing suicide. But are we really going to wait until the last minute before we try to back out? Everybody don't have that second chance. Everybody don't have the chance to say, you know what, I made a mistake, I'm done, I ain't gonna do it no more. Everybody don't have that opportunity. Jonah had chance after chance to get it right.
Yeah.
But after Jonah went back and talked to these people over there in Nineveh, Jonah decided to go and sit on this mountaintop and watch for destruction. Oh yeah, he did what God asked him to do, and that's because when God plans something, it's going to get done. Jonah was happy that he didn't die at the moment. But then you find that Jonah was says, you know, he'd rather be dead.
Yeah.
I'd rather die than to live and watch this. Why do you have to go and help other people? Because that's what our jobs are. That's what we are here to do. My job is here to help deter somebody else away from destruction. That's what my job is. Y'all's jobs is the same thing. To try to keep somebody on the narrow path. Keep somebody going straight where they're supposed to be. That's what our jobs as Christians are. To keep people moving in the right direction. As Deke was talking to me earlier this morning, he was telling me about a tree. You know, you can turn and bend this branch as long as it's young. But once it grow up, there's no more turning. So just like a child, while a child is young, you can mold them to do what is right. But if you've never pointed them in the right direction, when they grow up, it's going to be hard to turn them and to steer them back to the right way. Because they're already made. Now later on, you never know, that branch might bend back.
Yeah.
It might, but that's a strong might. If you've never taught that from the house, them going straight, that's a thin line. It might happen because you never know who they're going to run into. You never know what your life's going to be later. So these people here still looking for a sign. Do you really need a sign? Do you really need God to come down and show you something? Or do you want to do like the real people and read for your own understanding and find every sign that God has already showed us to start doing right? Now, I said the time to start doing right is now. It ain't next week. It ain't next year. Everybody don't have the first of the year. You know, when we make all those plans, well, first of the year, I'm going to stop doing this and stop doing that. Look, I told myself a long time ago, I said, you know what? I'm going to quit smoking today. Y'all know how much money I wasted talking about I'm going to quit smoking today? Man, I done went out there and bought a pack of cigarettes, take one out, and say, you know what? That's all I need. Throw the rest of it away. And then go right to the next store I find and buy another pack. Because I might have thought about it, but God needed me to learn a lesson first. I was wasting a whole lot of time trying to tell God that I was going to do something that was not in his plans. God says he will change me. I don't change me. That's why he asks all us to come as we are. Let him change us, because the world needs to see that you don't have to be perfect to find God. You don't have to be right to find God. You find God and let God change you. Because the world needs to see that everybody is up in that building that we keep going to every Sunday worshiping. Everybody is up in there. We got the drunks in there. We got the crackheads in there. We got the homeless people in there. We got everybody up in there. And the world needs to see that everybody needs him.
We would have need Jesus.
We would need you at all.
If we could do it ourselves,
Right.
I don't know. We need him. All we need sinners. He died for us.
Yes, we did.
That's how people think. That's how people think. Yeah. That's right. See, we got a lot of promises that we're making to ourselves.
Yeah.
We still got certain things that we want to do, and we feel like we can't do these things if we decide to go to God right now. Because once we say we are children of God, then we got to stop drinking. We got to stop smoking. We got to stop listening to this. We got to stop listening. God didn't say that. God said, come and let him take out of our lives what needs to be taken out.
That's right.
You know, just because you listen to R&B, that don't make you a sinner. That don't make you bad. That don't make you a person that's not with God. That don't make you a devil.
Mm-hmm.
You can listen to it. Don't be it. Don't live by it.
That's right.
I like listening to music. I listen to any kind of music. Any music, because music is what does. I don't even hear the words coming out of music because I don't care about the words. All I care about is the music. I listen to the music. Everybody is not like me. I can hear these things, and some people walk past me there. Did you hear all that? I ain't hear not one cuss word. The only thing I heard is the music. I love the music. Just see, we got to stop labeling people. We got to stop judging people based on what we see. I saw a preacher coming out of a liquor store one day. Did that mean that he was drinking? No, it doesn't. He just came out of the liquor store. He had a bottle. Do that mean that he was going to drink that bottle? That don't mean that he was going to drink that bottle. Look, I've met a lot of people that go into liquor stores because older folk creates toxins. You know, they make a lot of serums, you know, for sicknesses, different types of sicknesses. And they do these things. Now, am I going up in there? No, I'm not going to go up in there now because I know a lot of people that will look at me because we go live now, you know. People going to look at me and they can say, oh, I ain't listening to him no more. Hey, that boy done went up in that liquor store. Ain't listening to him no more. No, I'm not going up in there.
But you don't know.
I could have been. I could have been.
You in there because there was somebody in there that needed you to pray for them.
That is right.
You know, just because you go in the liquor, just because I see you going in the liquor store, that don't mean I'm say, Lord, Deacon Kenny going home to get drunk. No,
You're right.
You could have been in there praying for that man behind that counter.
And see, just like from the first 3 verses of this lesson here, Jesus wasn't doing nothing wrong. But it was these that's always out looking. Always out looking. And when they find something, they try to use it against them. Every time they go out there to do something good, they try to find something negative into that. And they try to use it against them. And if you notice that every time these people started to crowd around and try to catch Jesus and do something, what did he do? He leave.
Yes, sure did.
So if he's not wanted in that area, he do what he's sent there to do, then he leave. Y'all can either follow me or not. You know, you either going to be with me or you're not. You know, so he do his job and then he leave. Like I said, I don't have any other business to go back up in there. I don't. So that's the reason I'm not going in there, because I don't have any other business to go up in there. There you go. There you go. But I'm done with my lesson because I done said last week that I am not going to be disobedient. I'm going to stop when I'm supposed to stop. So it's past what I'm supposed to be.
That's all right.
But I'm going to turn this over to the hands of the superintendent.
Anyway,